Located on Adams and LaSalle, is one of Chicago's most important architectural monuments, a fusion of classical elegance and modern ingenuity. Of course, I'm referring to the Rookery. Fresh out of the ashes of the Great Chicago Fire, it has defined culture for generations and reminds us of the city's resilience, innovation, and legacy. So stay tuned as we celebrate its story. This is the story of Chicago's Rookery Building. I'm your host, Ryan Socash, and you're watching It's History. Before we begin, let's get some context about a pivotal historical event that shaped the planning of this landmark. In the 19th century, Chicago was rich with architecture. The urban landscape boasted a mix of styles, ranging from elegant Victorian mansions to imposing commercial buildings. During this time, architects and builders pushed the boundaries of design and engineering, creating functional and aesthetically pleasing structures. This showcase, for lack of better words, represented the city's rapid growth and prosperity. But then, unexpectedly, in 1871, a Great Fire abruptly ended this era of splendor. For 2 days, the city burned, destroying many of its buildings and leaving behind a landscape of devastation and ruin. Despite the destruction and pain caused by this catastrophe, the population regained hope, viewing it as an opportunity to renew and reinvent the city. Hence, architects and urban planners set out to redesign the urban landscape, incorporating new design principles and construction techniques, providing the perfect context for the Rookery Building to emerge amidst the ashes. The planning phase embodied the city's spirit of progress and ambition. While many buildings were mapped out during this period, the Rookery undoubtedly stood out among others. Designed by architects Daniel Burnham and John Wellborn Root, construction began at the corner of Adams Street and LaSalle in 1886 and was completed 2 years later. With a cost of over $1 million, the 11-story giant was one of the tallest buildings in the world at the time. Its name comes from the fact that before the Great Fire, a temporary city hall and fire station was erected around the water tower known as the Rookery. Additionally, this designation was given due to the numerous birds nesting there and the likelihood of being rooked by the politicians who resided nearby. At that time, buildings were transitional between two construction methods, blending traditional masonry with metal frameworks. Elements such as cast iron primary columns, wrought iron tie beams, and internal steel columns were also implemented. These materials ensured structural integrity while allowing flexibility and adaptability in design. Another great detail of the architect's ingenuity was making good use of the location for its planning. At that time, the corner of Adams and LaSalle was surrounded by roads and alleys on all four sides. This provided ample natural light for the offices located around its perimeter. So instead of adopting the typical single-sided hallway design, the architects included an inner ring of offices, nearly doubling the rental area and increasing the building's profitability. Laying the foundation for the Rookery Building was no easy task, as the contractors needed to reach the bedrock of limestone, providing a stable and secure base for the imposing structure. Special care was taken to ensure that everything was level and evenly distributed, allowing for uniform weight transfer and load-bearing capacity throughout the entire building. Laying the building's foundation was much simpler than expected, however, thanks to architect John Root's innovative grillage foundation system. This system involved supporting the immense weight of the building without the need for heavy foundation stones. Based on iron rails and structural beams encased in concrete, it allows greater flexibility in the design and construction while enhancing the overall structural strength of the building. With that in mind, it's no surprise that the Rookery Building has been acclaimed as a marvel of design and engineering from the beginning. But as you know, it's changed a lot since its heyday, so let's have a look at the numerous transformations. For example, one of the most notable modifications was made to the building's lobby. In 1905, it underwent a significant remodeling by the renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright, who gave it his characteristic style by simplifying the ironwork and adding planters and light fixtures. Another occurred in 1931 when architect William Drummond introduced the Art Deco style elements to the building by dividing the entrance lobby into 2 levels with separate floors. He also replaced the elevator cages designed by Wright, which were open and geometric, with solid bronze doors engraved with images of birds. In addition to these notable remodelings, the mid-20th century brought further changes to the building, as architects and designers sought to adapt the structure to meet the needs of a modern workforce. By 1972, the Rookery building was officially designated as a city landmark, recognizing its architectural and historical significance. This designation ensured that any future modifications to the building would be carefully considered and in line with its rich historical past. Nevertheless, in 1992, the most extensive restoration to date took place, and this included major changes. For example, an entire additional floor was added, bringing the total to 12, and the Burnham Library was restored. For the success of this renovation, the building received multiple awards. Then, by the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the building underwent further renovations to update its facilities and restore its original grandeur. These effects included repairs to the facade, improving the mechanical and electrical systems, and enhancements to accessibility and security features. Despite the numerous renovations and restoration projects that have marked the building's evolution, one element has remained unchanged: the imposing security vaults resting in the basement. These underground chambers, laden with history and mystery, are silent witnesses to the passage of the years. But before we explore these vaults further, I'd like to explain why they exist in the first place. From the grand opening to present day, this building's tenants have been financial in nature, occupied by securities and insurance firms, with occupants such as Judge Elbert H. Gary, who turned the United States Steel Corporation into one of the country's industrial giants. There were also society pillars such as John W. Gates and Samuel Insull, who we've spoken about at length in various other videos. Tycoons of this stature, they require special amenities in order to secure their wealth. With that in mind, the building installed massive vaults in the basement, where hundreds of safety deposit boxes held the contents of some of Chicago's most elite citizens. So, what can we find inside of them now? The vaults are intact. The Diebold Safe and Lock Company made them in the 19th century. According to some sources, they are masterfully well preserved and fully functional. But that's not all. The cover plates are made of nickel plate iron, brass, and bronze, all polished and adorned with incredible details. Since its installation in 1889, the door has been there, withstanding the passage of time with only minor changes. It serves as a repository of memories and stories, somewhat perfectly encapsulating the spirit of this grand old building. One of the Rookery building's most striking features is its innovative use of materials. The exterior is clad in distinctive terracotta, which adds to the building's aesthetic, but also serves as a resilient and durable weather covering. Additionally, as a nod to the past, the architects decided to carve a water tower atop each archway of the building's 2 entrances. Once inside, rich marble finish and intricate woodwork further enhances the building's luxurious ambience. However, the grandeur of the Rookery building is not only on the outside. Upon entry, visitors are greeted by a majestic lobby adorned with marble, wrought iron, and ornamental details. The imposing atrium, bathed in natural light, creates a sense of spaciousness. One of the building's most distinctive features is its open-light court, which stretches through the center of the structure and culminates in a skylight in the lobby. Adjacent to this court, a renowned semi-spiral staircase adorns the western side, adding functionality and aesthetic appeal to the interior. A central atrium surrounded by offices rise above the glass floor. Its glazed white brick walls reflect light into the interior offices, while its open space facilitates air circulation by drawing fresh breezes into the building. In other words, the Rookery is basically a time capsule, and in recognition of that fact, the renovating architects from '93 were honored and awarded by the American Institute of Architects, solidifying their role in the preservation of this cherished treasure. Like other buildings in the city, such as the Trade Building, the Rookery building has also made its mark on culture. For example, in the world of film, it has appeared in iconic movies like Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, where its imposing facade and one of its lower levels came to life as the beloved Duncan's toy chest store. Similarly, in the movie Untouchables, it emerges as an epicenter of law and order, representing the police headquarters where the brave Elliot Ness conducts his investigations, but its influence goes beyond the silver screen. In the pages of Frank Norris's novel, The Pit, the Rookery is revealed as the symbolic setting where the fictional financial magnate Curtis Jadwin forges his legacy within the halls of this great old building. And here's another fun fact for anyone who had heard of Chicago's White City. You see, the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition, according to history, was designed right in this building, as Burnham had his offices within the Rookery. Undoubtedly, the significance of the Rookery extends beyond its presence on the big screen and the pages of literature. It is a living testament to history and the culture of Chicago. Moreover, it is an architectural icon, a leader in technology, sustainability, and wellness. But to fully appreciate that, we need to examine this building in the present. In 2014, the Rookery achieved the coveted LEED Gold certification, marking a milestone in its commitment to sustainability and energy efficiency. What's more, this is the oldest LEED Gold certified building in Illinois and the oldest certified skyscraper globally, highlighting its leadership in environmental practices. Then, in 2018, it earned the prestigious Energy Star certificate, demonstrating compliance with the rigorous energy performance standards set by the EPA. In 2019, the Rookery saw another technological leap by upgrading its infrastructure to include the latest information technology, installing Wi-Fi in the lobby and common areas, as well as additional access points for cell service all throughout. Finally, in 2020, the Rookery achieved the prestigious WELL Health and Safety rating, which thoroughly evaluated its sanitation practices, emergency preparedness programs, available health services, and air and water quality management, among other vital aspects. This achievement reflects its firm commitment to the well-being and safety of everyone who works or just visits the building, which is truly amazing if you consider that the Rookery was one of the first things to rise from the ashes of the Chicago fire. And we'll leave it there for today, but thanks for joining us on this adventure into the past. I hope you'll subscribe to catch what we do next. Otherwise, until next time, I'm Ryan Socash, signing off.